Geocachomaniacs.
GeoGearHeads.
Well, welcome to GeoGearHeads episode 352. Tonight, we are doing a show we should have done years ago. We're talking about power trails. I'm Chris of the Northwest, along with our great, illustrious, and he's even here, host, Daryl W4.
But am I actually here?
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Here is nothing but there without a T.
Yeah, but I don't do mapping.
Oh.
Nor phones, but that was their parent company. But, you know, anyway. So we are here at a little bit after our scheduled start time because of some technical difficulties. And our guest and I have been working hard on getting a show back up and running. So Scott and Shorty Knits, welcome back.
Hello, Daryl. How are you?
Doing better than you guys are, unfortunately, tonight, because you've been working on all of these technical issues for getting geocaching podcasts back on the air.
Yes, we have. We've been painstakingly working for over a month, haven't we?
Yeah, at least that.
Yeah.
Feels like forever.
And unfortunately, my main desktop is loading right now. So if you're watching this, we are coming through an old laptop. You can tell by the video how old that laptop is.
Yeah, with the internal webcam that probably has been jarred around enough that the optics are actually loose.
It's almost impressive, the screen, how bad the picture is on it.
Well, at least there's something impressive about it.
You know what's impressive? What I love about a Mac is that this thing's like 10 years old and still working. Still a work.
Oh, I know that very well. Well, what is the one that I'm on right now? Because this was my old machine. Yeah, this is a 2010 Mac as well.
Yeah, man, workhorse.
Yeah,
I got a 2-year-old computer. It's a crap.
No, it's 3 years.
it's
3-year-old
It's made it
computer.
3 whole years.
Barely
It's
made it.
barely.
Barely. Yeah. Yes, we've been working. I don't know if you want to talk about this now or later. I don't know what you want to do, but
why don't we do it now?
want to do it now? We can do it now. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it now.
Yes, we have been painstakingly working, and we just had a test. Some people might have seen it on. We ran it over social media, and I can finally admit, if you want, I'll admit what the show is. The show is I knew when Andy handed the show over to me back in May, I knew that I wanted to bring it back to its roots immediately. I knew what I wanted to do with it. It's just a matter of if could I. And Daryl was a part of the show back in 2007. And what they did and what they had was they had a call-in show, and they used, if I remember correctly, Daryl, they used TalkShoe for the,
Yes, we did.
and wasn't
TalkShoe.
very good, if I remember correctly. And so they eventually abandoned what was a call-in show and just made it a regular show. This was Andy's vision when he created, not Andy, Xpunks X vision when he created the show back in 2007, and I knew I wanted to bring it back to what it was when Andy gave me the show, and so I did, and I knew I could do it. It's just figuring out how and costs involved and all that, and so I let baseball season end because I was right in the middle of baseball season, and once that was over, I really hit the ground running, and me and Jesse did a bunch of tests and trying to figure things out, and just threw a dump truck of money at this problem, and eventually it works. And we had a test last night. Me and Chad took 11 callers in 53 minutes, and it turned out fantastic. Sounds great. We are looking forward to it. We're going to do one more test very soon, and I just got to finish up a few odds and ends with the site in terms of the website and all that kind of stuff. And then we're back. We're going back live, and we're taking calls.
Love it.
Yeah, we got
Now
808 got swag, baby. That's the number to call.
808 got swag. I love it. Now, if you follow Daryl and our example, it'll take a year before you're done with the testing, and then you can actually launch the show.
Beta for like a year or two.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the entire first year was beta. Of course, we didn't get the Hangout on air for what, 22 weeks or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Some
So
incredible length of time.
Yeah, that was the worst part because they promised Hangouts on air are coming for everyone. Okay, so we'll launch the show and we'll get that going eventually, right? Yeah. 22 weeks later, they finally launched it.
Yeah,
joy.
So we're really excited to get it going. Everybody who we talked to said everything sounded great, and all the callers, everybody was excited because nobody knew what it was. And we also, and I tweet out this number, give us a call. You know, we're doing testing, give us a call on Facebook and Twitter. And it's funny because we're sitting there and the crickets are chirping because and all of a sudden the phone lines exploded. Jesse's now the screener. So if you call the show, you're going to talk to Jesse before you ever talk to me and Chad. So it's only going to be me and Chad. Sarah, unfortunately, is out, not because she's bad or anything, just because of what we're doing with the show now. A third host, I think, is irrelevant. I want the callers to be the third host. So if we have a topic, I want the callers are going to dictate which way the show goes. You know, we could have 10 callers, we could have 2 callers, we could have 5 callers. It depends on, on how the callers are. So, but it's great. I mean, even in, if you're sitting on hold, you can hear the show. It's really nice. It's a really nice system, so even the callers can listen to the show while they call in, and it's going to be on Hangouts on air and everything. You're going to hear all the callers, everything. It's going to be, we're still going to have a chat room. It's going to be nice. It's going to be, I think this is what X-Punk envisioned 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And I'm really excited for it. The test, I mean, me and Jesse were bouncing off the walls after the test was over. It was just so much time and so much energy and so much money put forward into this that have it working was pretty amazing. So we're really excited for it, and we look forward to people hearing it and calling up, and I want Daryl to call up and give his opinion like I know he always does. And
I have no opinions, none at all.
So I'm really looking forward to it, and it should be back. We've said we're pushing for October. That's the goal, is to get it before the end of October. So that's my goal, is to get it.
I was going to say October's just next week, so
but before the end of October.
Not much time. Okay.
There's
not much.
So we're gonna have a Halloween show.
Yeah, the heavy pulling is done. It's done. The heavy lifting, it's all done. The show works. Now it's just a matter of just the small little things we got to do.
So Scott, if Jesse doesn't like you, there's no chance you'll be on the show, right?
No, I have
pretty much, and she's screening all the calls.
If Jesse doesn't like you, you'll sit in queue hell. Yeah, you'll rot in the queue.
Hey, GSM times 2 wants to know what day and time this is going to be.
Wednesdays at 8:30, just like it always is. Wednesdays at 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern, just like same show, same music,
and 6:30 Pacific.
Same music, same show, same host, same everything. It's just a call-in show now. That's all it is. That's the only difference, is you are now calling in. If you don't call in, it ain't gonna work. So you guys got to call in.
And who is this call-in guy you keep talking about?
Right. I'm hoping you.
Oh, okay. My name is Chris, not Colin.
Chris, call the show, Chris.
Okay.
I thought you was talking about Colin over in the UK.
Colin. So that's the plan, and that's where it's going, and we got it working. Thanks to Daryl too. Daryl, I gotta say enough. Daryl, believe me, the first person when Andy gave me the show, you know who the first person I called was?
Daryl. I'm thinking Jesse.
Daryl, no. Remember that phone?
I do, actually.
Remember I told you what I wanted to do?
Yeah. And it took a while, but you're getting there.
Yeah. So
so hopefully within the next 4 weeks, we'll actually get our first show.
You'll know. Trust me, I will be pimping the hell out of it. It'll be all right. You'll know. I have no doubt of that. So I'm excited. Jesse's like, we're all, even Chad's excited. We're all excited to come back. We missed you guys. We missed podcasting. So it's gonna be good to be back. So yeah, I'm excited to check out the call-in show, because that's something. When X-Punk X tried to do it, what, like 12 years ago? A long time ago. Yeah, I think it was like 12. That was what everyone was trying to do, and no one could really make it work right. Yeah. So I'm excited to see this work now, and I think TalkShoe is around, but barely. And there were a couple of other services. So you found one that I'd never heard of. Yep. To handle it. So I'm excited to see it work, because among other things, you've got Jesse to act as a screener. You get to call up and talk to a pretty girl right there alone. That's worth it.
You're not going to get the kind of guests you think you're going to get if you
I
promote
was
it.
going to say that's
So yeah, that's it. It's coming, but it's going to be a call-in show, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, I am too, because that's
I'm
going to
glad
be great to see you guys come back. But we should get back to the topic at hand, which is power trails. So why don't we kick off with this email from Wet Coaster? Chris, you want to read that one for
I
us?
would love to. It starts off with, what are considered as power trails? The guideline states geocache containers and physical stages of different geocaches must be at least 0.1 miles, that's 528 feet or 161 meters for our friends up north, apart. Does a power trail need to be close to that distance apart, or can they be longer distances? My wife and I did a series northwest of Toronto that calls itself a power trail. We agree it is. The King's Power Trail, that was created because there were no caches on the King's Vaughan line. You can look at GC3, Yankee 5, Romeo Mike. And that's for cache number 1. Cache number 102 is GC42 Mike 1 Charlie. If you look at the map, they're not 161 meters apart. Some are 300 meters apart from the closest. So, no, power trails don't need to be exactly 161 meters or 528 feet apart, the caches. There could be terrain issues. You don't want to put one, next to a cliff if that happens to be the situation, or, too close to a school or railroad or what have you. But most people try to pack power trails as closely as they can so you get the most bang for your buck.
My impression of what a power trail should be is an easy to do, easy to access, quick park and grab, but I say that with an asterisk because it could be a bike power trail, because we've done those too.
Slow down and grab.
Yeah, exactly. But the quick on and off caches as close to each other as they can be, and you do have some issues with other caches that might be there, or with the terrain. So I've seen some that are really, really weird paths, but it's follow these in order. Number 1, number 2, number 3, and you will get through it as quickly as possible. And one of the reasons I asked Scott and Jesse on is we did a power trail with them in West Bend, and I think we did like 102 caches in something like just over an hour.
Something like that. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
So is there anything that you think we should add to that very, very long-winded description of what a power trail is?
Jesse?
No, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I don't. It's nice when they're close together, but they're not always. I mean, there's always issues, and maybe there's not a host, or like out by us in Southern Illinois, there's a lot of back roads where there's literally not a host, and so you have to go up to the next road. They're on the stop signs, or on the
every mile.
Yeah,
every mile is a stop sign.
Half mile. Scott and I just went
Was
out
it half
to
mile?
Indiana a few weeks ago and did what would we end up with,
245.
240
Yeah.
a day, and yeah, they were pretty spread out just because there wasn't anywhere to put it.
Right.
So
yeah, you'd have some that was 550 or 528, and then you'd have one then there'd be one that was like 0.2. So
or half a mile.
So I consider, I mean, to me, a power trail is just one cache after another down a line, more or less. Not even always. It doesn't even have to be like the same grouping in terms of like the same hider or whatnot. But it's I love a good even going down a trail. Like we did a bike trail. I mean, it was 20 miles. They weren't were they 500 apart?
Yeah, just about.
Were they?
I think they were pretty close.
Okay, that's a long time.
Most of the bike trail ones that I've done, which isn't very many, but the ones that I've done, they typically try to get them as close as they can, but you have, in many cases, other caches that were already placed on the trail that mess up the spacing. You'll have caches in the parking lot for the subway or whatever just around the corner. So you've got a fair number of glitches thrown into that distance, especially on the bike trails, the rail trails, that kind of thing.
Right.
It seems to be a little bit easier if it's something on the road, but even there you have issues with the same kind of stuff, and I've seen problems happen, with the other caches, and especially the puzzle cache finals seem to get in the way.
Right.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always Oh, I just lost my train of thought. No, I didn't. So to me, a power trail is I mean, it's a park and grab pretty much. I consider I consider something a power trail if it's a park and grab. I've seen a lot of power trails where we've done power trails where it's in the woods. Remember, we were pissed off because we went to go do a power trail and it wasn't close at all. And we drove out there, got the bikes, and we literally had to search for a cache. Um, and some of them were very difficult. Like and they weren't even like right off the trail. They were 40 feet into the woods. So now you're leaving your bike and you're going 40 feet into the woods to try and find a cache. And to me, yeah, it's a power trail, but is it?
I was
No.
going to say that gets almost off of a power trail. It's just a cache trail then, geo trail.
For me, the barn quilts. Remember that one?
Yeah, I know
The barn
exactly what
quilts?
you're talking
Yeah.
about. I wasn't gonna call it out, but
Oh,
leave it to
man.
Scott.
Ugh.
He names
I'll
names.
name drop. I don't care.
Starcasher in the chat says it's nice and common that the container / hide style is similar, but that is not required.
No, but
That's
power
very
trail
true.
speed.
Right, it's intended to
Sure.
be quick,
Right.
easy, fast.
Sure.
Numbers.
Rotate containers.
Right.
But a number of the power trails that I've done will have a couple of large containers where they can be supported so that people can at least grab and drop off trackables if that's what they want to do.
Yes.
If you have 200-300 caches and not one of them can support a trackable, that kind of sucks.
Oh yeah.
But for a power trail, I don't find that unusual. I find, you're
No.
going to get similar containers. So they're going to be small, repeatable, you think film canisters, PET tubes, things like that.
Right, exactly. And typically when you do a power trail, you're expecting not that you're going to be sticking to that, but you're expecting them to be similar containers, similar style hides to make it easy. You first find one or two, get used to it, and then they should be all really, really simple after that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's not always the case, especially when you have those ones where they've included, not officially maybe, but included the caches that had been on that road or trail beforehand. Those aren't going to be typically the same kind of hide. But those are also good ones that if they're large, there's your break if you want to do the travelers.
Right. But to me, a power trail is all speed.
Right.
That's a power trail to me.
And
It's all about the numbers.
Yeah, well, that's what power trails are for to me personally. I mean, they have their time. It's like a skirt. It's like a lamp skirt. They have their place in this game. It may not be for you or for me but I know I have a friend who caches it. Literally, it's all he does. Are power trails every weekend. He's power trailing. That's all. I mean,
Wow.
that's all he does. I know.
And then what is the biggest power trail that you have done actually? And roughly how long did that take?
We did the 20-mile bike. That was
we did a 20-mile bike ride. It was like 130
more than that because we got 244 that day. It was 200.
Oh, that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
that day we had like 240 for the day, and of those, 150 maybe were on the bike trail.
More than that, wasn't it?
More than that? I don't know. It was a lot, and it was a bike trail.
It was a ton, dude. It was 20 miles.
So-
It was a ton. Figure 20 miles at one every 500 feet. Do the math on that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're talking, well, you'd be close to 200.
Yeah, I think it is, but she's saying
Yeah, maybe it was 200. Maybe it was
because I don't think
200.
we'd after a 20-mile bike ride, I'm not finding another 100 caches.
Yeah,
I'll find
you're right.
maybe find like 30 more and I'm done.
Yeah, and those bike ones seem to be worse because you have to get off the bike, go and sign it, and then go back. So it's a lot quicker and easier to do it in a car and you have to set up the different stages. So why don't we go to an email from Korsgag? Sorry, I'm totally butchering your name. I apologize. I was listening to the show now and found that part of getting high numbers of caches on one day was low. In June 2017, I took a trail in Sweden along with 3 buddies, and we got 741 caches on that same day. Of course, we were beaten the year after when some ladies we know got 800 in the same trail. For this day, we needed to have a system for this to work. 1 driver, 2 start searching, and 1 for navigation. We were out of the car for every cache, signing the cache on the spot before returning to the car and going to the next cache. So this does work. What is the strategy that you guys recommend for hitting these power trails? What kind of system?
Wait, the driver actually got out of the car.
That's what I'm understanding, but I don't think so.
Okay, here's my strategy: don't get out of the car. That's my
driver doesn't get out of the car.
That's number 1. Driver doesn't get out of the car.
Now, I admit when I'm driving quite free, when it's just Renee and I trying to do these trails, I usually get out of the car because I'm faster than she is.
Yeah, see, Jesse usually is the hopper. It depends how many people we're with. If it's just me and if it's just me and Shorty, then like I will navigate and I'll drive and she'll be the hopper. But if you have 3 people, if you have Cody in the car with us, then one person's driving, one person's navigating.
Mm-hmm. Well, if Cody's in the car, you don't really do more than slow down. You never stop.
Right.
He's learned to tuck and roll.
Yeah, pretty much. He literally hops out, signs, grabs the cache, and he's done. But we had Cody with us during that West Bend run, and I want to say that Renee was signing, because this is one of the ones where you pick up a bunch of caches at the beginning, you sign the logs, and you swap them.
Sure.
So I want to say Renee was doing that, and Cody was just hopping out, and they were just swapping caches when he got back in.
And that's also another strategy is to swap.
Yeah.
Containers.
Yeah. So with 3 people, I think that's what you want to do if it's that kind of run.
We do that even just me and Scott. I'll hop out, grab the cache, hop back in the car. I'm signing the log as he's driving to the next one. I'm done, have it back closed. By the time we get to the next one, I hop out, swap them out, do the same thing on the way to the next.
Wash, rinse, repeat.
100 times.
100 plus times. Yeah, I mean, we were talking the other day. Well, actually, not the other day when we were in Indiana doing that run, and the only reason, by the way, the only reason I did that run. Oh, there's my picture. Sorry. The reason I did that run was because of Land Monkey. I'm blaming Land Monkey because he was giving all of us crap at the beginning of the year, saying he wants all the hosts to get 1,000 fines. I'm like, oh, I get 1,000 fines easy every year, no matter what. And then I looked and I was like on par to not get 1,000 fines this year. I'm like, oh no, that's not going to happen. So
it's been years since I've gotten anywhere close to it.
I looked and I was at like 600 or 700. I'm like, oh, that's no good. Land Monkey will win if I do that. So I'm like, Jesse, we got to go. We got to go to Indiana. I sent her a picture of the area. She's like, let's go. So we went and got like 245 or something like that. So I'm actually over 1,000 now.
No, for the weekend we ended up like 350.
Oh yeah, 350.
Ooh, wow.
Like a day and a half.
Yeah, so I'm over 1,000.
That's more than I've done in a month this year.
I sent Land Monkey at Twitter. What did I do? How did I send it to him? I don't know what I did. Did I do it? I don't remember if I did it publicly or not. Saying, I did your stupid challenge. Here you go.
If you did do it publicly, I missed it, but that doesn't mean much.
Yeah. So, So I forgot my point to what we were saying to that.
Well, yeah, we were talking about the positions in the car. So you can do it with just 2 people. One person's always going to be the driver. If you're car caching, if you're doing it on bikes, that's a little different. But one person's always going to be driving, and the other person is like your runner. If you just have 2.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you have 3, then you can add the navigator or /signer or whatever, and we've had most of those with 2 or with 3 people in the car where the two people will jump out and try to find the cache, because most of the power trails that we've done, they're not nearly as easy as the ones in West Bend were.
And I'll usually give Jesse about 3 minutes. If she hasn't
And then
found it,
you drive off.
I'll get out of the car.
And then as soon as he opens the door and steps the first foot out,
He'll
I find it.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
Well, that's about right. Yeah.
That's the way it works.
We had a power trail that we did with 5 people, and we had the navigator / logger for that one. We had the driver, and then we had 3 people hopping and running, but it was a little tough because one person's stuck in the middle of the back seat.
Mhm.
So actually,
I remember this trip. Yeah, remember we shifted. Remember?
No, that was.
oh, that's not the trip I was thinking about, but yes.
I was remembering.
Oh, we have music. Interesting.
Well, there they go.
The music has eaten Scott and Jesse. But what we ended up doing with a few of the caches, because there was nowhere that we could actually even really pull over. So we did the drop, like one person here, go up 3 caches, drop another person, loop back around,
Oh
pick up
my.
the first person, pick up the second person. And we ended up having to do that to make it all work, which some people say is cheating, but as far as I'm concerned, that's fair game with a power trail.
Well, it is fair game with the power trail, but that puts 3 times the miles on the car too.
Yes, but it's not about the miles. It's about how quick you can do it.
Yeah.
The joy of a power trail to me is it's like that marathon. Get them all, get them as quickly as possible, just to prove that you've done it.
Right.
Get that cache rate per hour up.
And we've talked about this, Daryl, you and I, but it's really also about the people you're caching with. I mean, you're spending a lot of times, often very close together in a car.
Can you hear us?
Yep, you're back.
Yay.
So having the right people with you, and again, it's much like geocaching is. It's the joy of the journey more than, actually getting the cache finds.
Sure. Yeah, it's almost like a team building exercise.
Well, there you go.
You kind of want your employer to schedule something like that, but
you have to
probably
work for geocaching.com to do that.
Well, I don't know that they even actually do that, but
they do.
I'm thinking here in the US,
wacky outings.
Right? But they're not doing the power trails for those.
Maybe not.
How many power trails there are in Seattle? Actually,
not many.
I don't think there's many.
I had to drive south to go get one.
Did you do the 66? You're out there.
Route 66? No, it's far down south. It ends in California.
It's a hell of a lot closer to you than it is to me.
Well, Route 66, about the same distance.
The Route 66 road actually starts near you.
Yeah, but it starts near you.
The power trail doesn't start until Wyoming or something.
No, it's in California, isn't it?
Is it? I can't remember where that is. I thought it went through a couple of states. So.
I was going to say, I thought it went through California, Nevada, and then where? Is it Utah? Does it go up into Utah, or does it stay south into New Mexico?
Well, this is another excellent point, is how do you actually find the power trails? And there isn't actually an attribute for geo tours, but there's nothing like that for a series or trail. Right. So how is it that you're going to find?
You look for the scuba attribute.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen the Jasmers and all those. I've seen those kind of power trails.
Right, but it's a question of how do you actually locate the power trails and get them set up for your pocket queries or whatever. And I've seen a lot of them where they'll actually have a bookmark list, which is very handy. Others use that scuba attribute, which gets a lot of people upset.
It's not the right way to go, but
it's a hack, because if you're in the middle of the desert, then theoretically there's no scuba caches out there, so it's not going to upset anyone, but it does.
I've been out in the desert on a horse with no name.
Yeah,
with the scuba.
Scuba was.
There are some that are just like the name. They'll have a series of characters at the first, or as the first few characters of the name, and then you have to do a search by that, which is far less easy, but it does still work.
You know, there is a Facebook group strictly for power trails. You know,
Are there?
Yeah.
there is
I
actually.
thought it
There
was
is.
for more for geo art.
Well, there's one for GeoArt as well, I thought.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's a couple for GeoArt.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
if
Geo
there's not, we'll make one.
it's a power trail. You don't consider that power?
Basic, yeah,
No,
basically
GeoArt,
is.
I don't. Yeah, it is, but I don't really consider that a power trail because you have to solve the puzzles usually before you can actually find the caches.
Solve the puzzles. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little different because it
Somebody
takes
has
more
to solve-
legwork.
Somebody has to solve the puzzles once. Is what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm not wrapping those in because that's kind of its own entity.
Mhm.
You know, kind of like not any trail is a power trail either. And
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know, it was what I was mentioning before is that Jesse and I, when we were in Indiana and we were just going through the motions of wash, rinse, repeat of getting these caches, we were talking about ET, not the movie, but the actual trail. And I beat Chris to the punch. There is what I did. And,
I was waiting for you to phone home, but go ahead.
And and we were just talking like, I know we have to do it one day. I know it's on the bucket list, and it's literally like a chore. I have zero
yeah.
desire to do it, but I know I have to. Just to say you did it. But we're like, oh, it's like it's not even gonna be fun.
No.
It's just gonna be a chore.
After 2 days in Indiana, 350 caches in 2 days, it was like I didn't even want to think about caching for
Right.
at least
No,
a
and that is a good point. I have a caching friend who I'm not sure if he's actually caching anymore, come to think of it, but he was doing, like one weekend a month, he'd go somewhere and do something big. And one of those weekends, he did the ET Power Trail with a bunch of friends.
Mhm.
It was another 2.5 months, I think, before he did any more caches because he got so burned out.
I believe it. Totally believe it.
It is insane.
Yeah.
But the strategy a lot of cachers have used is go and do a power trail. Then you go and do like some serious puzzle caches or some of the like gadget caches just to break it up, or go and do some of the really great scenic hike caches if you have those around you, and do all of the various things in different spots so that you can break it up and not get overwhelmed with any one type.
Well, the problem with that is that when you come from from the Midwest where we are, and then you get yourself out there to Vegas, you want to fit in as much as you can. So I know a lot of people from out here, they go do ET and then they go do Route 66 because you're right there. You're 2 hours away.
Sure.
So it's another 800 or so caches. So it's like add 800 to the already 25 3 how many 3,000 2,500 caches?
An impossible amount. Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane.
100 to it, but you're already out there. It's like it's not a cheap trip. Well,
No.
not a cheap trip. So it's a pricey. It's a pricey. 3,000 caches.
Yeah. Now, I had friends who did it, and I, asked them what was the secret. They said the secret is to rent a minivan that you can drive with the side door open.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not all of them do that. So you got to make sure, you got to do a little research ahead of time that, this one will let you drive with the door open. And then you got to go get it detailed afterwards because it's just full of dust.
I can't. First of all, I can't believe they have cars that drive with the door open. It's amazing that they still in this day and age, 2018.
You sound old when you say that.
I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Like, in this day and age, they make cars in the PC world we live in. They make, and in the I'm going to sue everybody world that we live in, they make cars that drive with the door open.
Exactly.
And then I can't even imagine the dust, the level and the layers of dust involved at the end of that trip. Well,
one of the favorite vehicles for some of the ET highway folks that I've talked with is the Wrangler, the 4-door Wrangler with no doors.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But they say you can only do that like in the winter because otherwise you're going to fry your ass off.
Well, it's supposed to be the perfect time is November is the time to go there. That's the time.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
And so.
And not this year.
I would really like to do that sometime. No. But I'd really like to do that sometime. Just, You got to get the right crew together.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
like Chris was saying, it is kind of like that camaraderie, team building thing. So it's a great thing to do with a group of friends. And someone that just reminded me, someone when I remember did that as their bachelorette party.
Oh, that'd be good.
The ET.
Yeah. I don't think it was the ET highway, but they did like one of those power trails. So it was like, cash your way somewhere. They stayed overnight and had the whole thing as their bachelorette party.
Right. I'd need like 2 weeks because I want to do ET. I'd want to get all the virtuals that are in Vegas, downtown proper. I'd want to go get Route 66. Those. I mean, like, I don't have time for this. I got a job.
We need to live in Europe.
Yeah.
I know. I need
weeks of
Europe where I get
vacation?
2-week vacations that my
Yeah.
buddy takes. I don't know what this is all about. 2-week vacation.
Well, yeah, in parts of Europe, it's you take a month off.
no, Mark
It's
just
And then
just
you-
mandatory. Yeah.
2 weeks to Cuba for Christ's sake.
I know.
I don't know what.
Well,
else-
and I think that was on top of his.
how you doing? it?
Did he have like a 4 weeks off? I know.
No, you only had 2. Well, I'm sure. he gets
Lucky people.
Apparently, Scott, we're doing it wrong.
Oh my God, we're doing it wrong.
That's what it amounts to. It's not what you doing. What are we doing wrong that we're not taking 2 weeks in Cuba?
Oh God, I don't know what I would do with myself. What would we do we didn't work for 2 weeks?
I find I have to take a 2-week vacation. The first week
You
I
take
don't
one?
let
Really?
down. Yeah, I have to. If I take a vacation, it has to be 2 weeks because I don't let down the first week,
Really?
and then the second week I can finally. Okay, now I'm on vacation.
That's amazing. I haven't taken a 2-week vacation since I was a child. Like,
Yeah,
I've
no, same
never-
thing.
never taken one as an adult. Jesse, have you ever taken a 2-week vacation?
I don't think so.
Never. Like, we've taken a week.
We took a
6
week.
days, 6
Mhm.
to 7 days. Like, add another week to that. Like, I can't have a picture.
I would love that luxury, but yeah, I've not worked anywhere that you can do that, and I usually have to work at some point during my vacations, which is
Yeah, I guess if we went to Europe, we want to go to Europe one day, so I bet we'd have to take
just for a day though.
What?
Mhm.
You don't want to take like a week or two in Europe. You just want one day.
one day.
One
One
day.
day we want to go.
You got to work for the airlines then.
They got fast trains. You can get everywhere you need
I
to go in
know,
a day.
That's all I need. Yeah.
I did 2-week Europe trip,
Well, there you
but
go.
I was like 14 with my parents.
Right. So you were a kid. That's what I'm
But
saying. I haven't done it.
but that means that my parents took. Oh wait, they were teachers. Yeah, they had
Yeah,
summers
they had the
off.
summer whole they had weeks off. Months. Yeah. Doing it wrong, man. We're doing it wrong.
Okay, so this has turned into the complaining we don't get enough vacation time show.
We need-
Awesome. That's why I love this.
Time to do Power
I love
Trip.
just. I know. I just love getting together with geocachers because you never know what tangent you're going to go off on.
Reeling ourselves back in. So yeah, I mean, am I a fan of power trails? In one way, yes, because it's numbers, and who doesn't like numbers? But on the other side, no, because it's like me and Jesse. By the end of it, we were bored. It's like it's
mhm.
just
Mhm.
wash, rinse, repeat over and over again. I'd
Yeah.
much prefer getting 30 hiking for 10 miles.
But if you need
Yeah,
number, that's what you need.
Sure. It's fun to do them every so often, and for a while we tried to do them at least once or twice a year. But it's one of those I really, unless you're into it, I really recommend not doing it very often because
Oh.
it can burn you out. I've seen too many cachers who get burned out because of the power trails.
Right.
Mhm.
And like I said, we do it. We do it West Bend.
We do West Bend every year. We
Maybe
always
one
take
more.
one day and do power trails.
We do geocaching day. That's
Yeah.
more not technically power trails, but it's a numbers day.
Right.
which is
Well, and
fun.
that's a lot more fun than
And
a power trail, but a
Well,
lot more
look-
frustrating too.
we look for a power trail. It's just we've done most of them around here, but
Yeah.
we look for them. Last
Yeah,
year,
and the trouble is with a power trail, they'll typically be put out and they stay for a long time.
right? That's the problem exactly. Because
So they just
it-
don't turn over.
it becomes a destination, is what it does.
Absolutely. And it takes a lot of work to place a power trail. Don't,
Yes.
even as quick and simple as it is, that's like 300-400 caches that someone has to actually go and list. That's 300 and 400 sets of coordinates. It's a lot of work
And
just to
maintaining.
get the most simple.
That's
together.
community, man. That ain't nobody
Yeah.
can-
Typically, the power trails are fairly self-maintaining. So even if they don't have to worry about that, it's still a lot of work to put one together. So that's why you don't see them turning over as often. If they weren't self-maintaining, then I think you would see a lot more turnover, because if I have to go out and maintain this power trail every couple of months, it becomes suddenly easier for me to just archive it and create a new one.
Right. Or just let the community maintenance.
Yeah. And that's why we have
at the start
that's
of the
why we
power
have
trail,
like
just leave a bunch of logs. Take care of it yourself, guys.
Yeah, power trails with all.
you have
is what you have.
Yeah, you have the spare containers and logs, and then if one of them is missing, you go out and do it. And you just have to go out every so often and take a whole stack of them and drop them back at the start if it doesn't loop back around. But most of those... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
A lot of the ones in West Bend do that. They give you a bucket in the beginning, and you can grab a handful of containers that the caches are. And me and you have actually done. Remember, me, you, and Walt did one of those.
Right. Yeah, and you usually end up right back at the start at that same bucket to drop all the spares off. So it's a big circle, and that's, if you're placing a power trail, that's the way to do it. And even if you're doing it, it's nice because then you know where you're starting and stopping.
Right. You drop cars if you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, why don't we wrap up the show? Any parting words of wisdom on power trails?
Just don't do them.
Not really.
No, as I said, much like a skirt, they have their place in this game. There is a place for them, and I respect them. And if like I say, I know cashers that's literally all they do, and I say God bless, but I just can't. I couldn't fathom doing it. To me, you're missing the whole concept, but of the game. But God bless, man. To each his own.
You're still going out and finding caches.
I guess, yes.
And it's fun if you have a big, group of people, good friends, and it's about the journey and the camaraderie and the friendship, and more than the numbers. If you make it about the numbers, you're gonna burn out. But if you make it about, making memories and having fun, that's what it's about. To me.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to the return of Geocaching Podcast.
Thank you. I look forward to giving it to you.
And where is it that they can keep track of that? Is it the Facebook page for Geocaching Podcast still, or do you have another source now?
No, it is still it's facebook.com/ I think Geocaching Podcast.
Geocaching Podcast, I think.
Twitter it was at GC Podcast.
GC, yeah.
We'll be geocachingpodcast.com. We're right in the middle of updating the page. But yeah, Facebook, social media, Facebook. Hey, follow us. We got a new YouTube channel, so make sure you do a search for Geocaching Podcast and follow the new YouTube. I think it's got over I think it already has 100 subscribers, but we're trying to get back to the 260 that we had on the other one. So we had to redo it. We had to do a new feed. So if you type in Geocaching Podcast on YouTube and there's nothing on there, that's the right one. Click on that one.
Go to the one where there's absolutely nothing there. You'll find what you're looking for.
Oh, and I have to just do a quick little rant. They've changed the way that those custom URLs and stuff work on YouTube now. So like Renee and I are doing a vlog on the honeymoon that we were planning for Walt Disney World, and we can't get a custom URL in it or anything. So it's really hard to find. You can't do it. You can't get the custom URL for, I think it's 4 weeks or something, and you have to have X number of 100 followers.
We just hit the 100 mark. Yeah, we just hit the 100 mark. So
nice. Yes. And you must have created at least, maybe it's only 2 weeks, but yeah, there was some time limit and the number of followers.
I don't know. Well, I haven't tried yet. But how long we've had for almost 2 weeks, roughly?
It's been a few weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I haven't tried to create
the custom URL yet.
I haven't had to yet.
Yeah, that's so frustrating though.
Yeah.
We're just doing this one for fun, and we only have 7 followers, I think it is.
I didn't even know.
But,
you didn't tell me. I'll follow you.
No, I haven't really been following or telling anyone about it. We're just doing it for fun, and it does actually automatically tweet to my personal Twitter account. So when we go live, it's just Renee and I sitting over here, talking about the planning of our honeymoon in March to Disney World.
Disney World, is that the one in Florida or California?
That's it. That's the Florida one, yeah.
Weird looking
And the
at
whole
like
reason
Florida. Really?
the whole reason we're waiting. Well, remember, this like 3 weeks, 4 weeks from now is the first anniversary. But the whole we really wanted to do.
I got married in October.
Yeah, the wedding anniversary.
When I
Yeah.
was yes, I recall.
See, Shorty knows what's going on. She's got you.
The one that we planned in like 5 weeks because we discovered that the otter habitat was
Otters were
available.
going
And we were gonna
away.
let us have. Well, they weren't going away. They had just been redesigned.
Oh.
Freshly renovated otters.
It's nothing like a good fresh otter, let me tell you.
I prefer an older otter.
Do you? I find them more chewy. I think the newer ones taste better.
Oh, they have
Renee's excited. Renee was excited because I found a
straight. So you have a podcast or a vlog, as you will,
vlog.
that is just you two talking about your honeymoon you're going on in March.
Planning on the planning
So
for
people
the
can stalk
honeymoon.
them
Talking
and
about what you want to do.
be
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Sign me up.
Yeah, we figured it
room
would
number?
just be fun to try to do it, and we are having a blast doing it. Plus, Renee's getting to learn all about some of the Walt Disney stuff that she didn't know because she has not been there since she was like 2 or 3 years old. Epcot hadn't even been opened when she was there.
I don't think I've ever been there. I was at the one in
Really?
California. I was the California one.
Oh, I've been to both.
I thought you just went there with the family last year.
No,
we
my
didn't
ex
go
went.
to.
We went to Florida.
We went to Florida, but we did not.
but
go
we
to
did not go to
Disney.
Disney World.
Too many geocaches to find.
Got
I'm not about the mouse, dude. I'm anti-mouse. I'm not a mouse guy.
Well, fine, be that way. Did you do Universal?
I'm a Looney Tunes kind of guy, if you must know.
No, we didn't do any of it. We went to the beach.
We went to the beach.
Oh,
We went on vacation where we didn't have to walk.
we had
20
kids. No, we had
miles.
kids. We went on a trip. That's not a vacation.
It was true.
It's big. That was a trip. But
that was good.
But no,
See, this is how we get off of track here.
When's the Star Wars thing coming out? Why are you going before the Star Wars thing?
Well, that's well, it was originally supposed to be opening right about the time that we're going.
Is it going
But we're going for the Flower and Garden Festival, which is also like a food and wine festival light.
Okay, what about the Star Wars thing?
Star Wars weekends, I think that's going to be May this year.
Well, is
May the
And
4th?
May the
I think they did do it right around that. Yes.
That's when they're
But I think they pushed it back because they realized that Star Wars Land was not going to be ready in time.
hammered with Greedo. Come on. dude. Come on.
Remember, Greedo shot first.
I'll kill, shoot. Yeah, two shots first. is what I mean.
Have you seen the photos of Star Wars Land in either
I have, yes. Yeah,
California or Florida?
I have, yeah.
It's looking amazing in both parks.
With a real working
I am
bus.
so excited.
You can go.
Well, and did you? Yeah. Did you see what they're doing at the Disney World with that hotel?
I heard about somebody was at work was telling me about it. Like it's going to be a whole like tell me.
A hotel with no windows.
Yeah, it's going to be like this weird like just
How
like
is that legal?
nah, right?
Well, they have the doors for egress. You don't have to have windows,
Oh, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
but they're going to have like projections and video screens. LCDs. I'm imagining, but some kind of video simulating that you're like in space.
Right. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So it's the same kind of stuff that they're doing on the cruise ships with the virtual portals.
They have virtual portals.
But yeah, they have like the inside staterooms now get feeds from cameras so that it feels like you're out.
Look, poor
yeah.
people, you can see the outside.
Exactly.
This is what it would look like if you
See
were
what the
rich.
rich people see. This is what it would look like if you had money.
Well, if you're a rich person, you actually get to walk out on the balcony and experience it.
yes. And the smells aren't free.
But yeah, they're doing this completely enclosed. Once you're in, the whole point is you're in this whole separate world of Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Pretty amazing.
and it's going to have its own entrance into Star Wars Land, into the galaxy's edge.
You know how much?
So
you know
you go through this tunnel.
As an adult, I'm
What's
saying,
that?
how much it's going to cost?
It's got to be a deluxe resort, so I'm thinking at least $350-$400 a night.
Totally worth it.
With
But
no
it's-
windows.
Totally.
Yeah, and they have like bunk beds in the rooms. Take a look at some of the concept art. It's like you're on the concept is like you're on the space station or what's it called?
Freighter.
The no the
Star Destroyer.
Star Destroyer.
You're getting so old.
So I get
Which one?
well I was not
Wait, so
I
which
was
one?
not prepared to be talking about this.
Which one?
No, none of those. Let's see the other arm.
The other one's got worth it.
Anyway. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what that is, but I don't want to stay there.
Really? Come on.
No. Well, I take that back. I don't want to stay there until I figured out what they're doing because it's a little bit too weird for me to book a $300 night.
The wives at home, and me and you gotta go. Because they're not gonna want to go. They have
The wives are going to get very, very worried if you and I get a hotel room together.
Bunk beds.
It's fine. It's bunk beds.
So much room for activities. Come on.
Okay, I don't want to know about activities in the
I thought you were
bunk beds. How about if I wrap it all up?
I think that would be best.
Scott and Daryl get too easily distracted. Shorty, you ready? We'll finish it together. Here we go. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate it. We're going to have you come back, tell us more about Geocaching Podcast and Star Wars Land.
Right.
Now, next week, we're still going to do a podcast, and it has nothing to do with Star Wars Land, as far as I know. We are talking trackable partnerships. The week after that is one of my favorite episodes, is the randomized episode. And then we follow that with Geo Tours. And finally, for show 356, Land Monkey and I are going to be talking, are you sitting down for this? Earth caches. I know, you're surprised.
I am so surprised, but check the Cachemaniacs website at cachemaniacs.com for more on the GeoGearHeads, including show notes for this and all of our episodes. We love hearing from our listeners, so leave us feedback by emailing geogearheads at cachemaniacs.com or through social media. Your support helps keep the Cachemaniacs shows coming. Please consider becoming a patron through the link on our website to support the Cachemaniacs shows. GeoGearHeads is produced by Chris Steffenauer and Daryl Wanberg. This show is copyright 2018 by Daryl Wanberg. All rights reserved.